Hello, this is Mr. Painter with another fabulous IXL tutorial. Today we're working on IXL Y.1, which X satisfies an equation. So when we take a look at this problem right here, we got what value of D is a solution to the equation. So 7D equals 14. Now, if I take a look at my SMART score, right behind where my camera is at, there we go, I have a SMART score of 0. So getting started, what I can do is I can just click submit, get it wrong, to learn how to do it. And if you look at my SMART score, it's still at 0, so you don't lose any points. Now, what are we doing today? So the question is asking, well, what's the value of D is a solution to this equation? So it's either 0 or 2. So according to our remember section, a solution to an equation is the value of a variable that makes the equation true. So when we solve this, to find the solution, substitute each value of D into the equation. The word substitute means to simply plug in the value of D. So we got two things to plug in. One of them is going to work, one of them is not. So for an example, if we substitute the value of D, which is equal to 0 for the first one, 7 times 0 equals 14. And the problem is 7 times 0 is 0, and 0 does not equal 14. So the first one where D was equal to 0 doesn't work. Now, if we plug in the value of D equals 2 in the equation, 7D, 7D equals 14. 7 times 2 is 14. Oh, 7 times 2 is 14. And therefore, the value of 2 works. All right, let's do a couple of these. I'm going to take it up to 80. I like going up to 80 because they show you that anything's possible. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'll start with C equals 7. So whenever you have a constant, the 9's a constant, and a variable, which is going to be C, they're multiply. So whenever you see a number and a constant next to each other, they are multiply. So you're probably thinking, well, Mr. Painter, that says 97. No, it's not 97 because you're multiplying, not just necessarily plugging it in just this particular case. All right, but we got C equals 7. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 9 times, take that 7, plug it in for C, and see if it equals to 72. And I'm going to put that question mark in there because we're just checking and see if it works. Now, 9 times 7, gotta refresh my skills. 9 times 7, I believe it's 63 equals 72. Now, we got a problem though. 63 is not equal to 72. So therefore, I put a line through the equal sign saying not equal, and therefore C equals 7 doesn't work. So what I think I want to do is I want to try something a little bit higher, which is going to be C equals 8. And that should get us 72. Now, I'm going to check it to make sure. Now, a process of elimination would say, well, if the first one doesn't work, technically the second one should because it's the only other option we got. But here's how we do it. So now we're going to try the blue equation. We got 9 times C equals 72. Well, where did that equation come from? Right here, where it says 9C equals 72. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 8 and I'm going to plug it in for C for kitty cat. Woo! All right. So now we got 9 times 8 supposedly equals 72. And that's what the question mark, supposedly. Okay, and that's a beautiful 8, by the way. Look at that. There you go. All right. And 9 times 8, multiplication skills again. 9 times 8 is, is 72, which equals 72. So check. C equals 8 is the correct solution in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and choose C equals 8. And that's what we're doing today. All right, where are we at? We got a SMART score of 10. Let's clear the board. All right, clear screen. All right, now next one we got what is the value of B, what value of B is a solution to this equation? So we got either B equals 4 or B equals 6. Let's try B equals 4 first. So we're going to plug in our same equation. We got 8. There's our B. So it's 8 times B because 8 and B are next to each other. So once again, when they're next to each other, you multiply. Equals supposedly 32. All right, so we got 8 times B. B has to be a 4. So we're going to change that B into a 4. So it's 8 times 4, because it's telling us, well, B equals 4. Supposedly equals 32. Question mark. And let me see. 8 times 4. Oh, 8 times 4 is 32 equals 32. And therefore B equals 4 is the correct solution. And we don't have to try B equals 6 because if the number is higher and B equals 6 and it's all positive, it's going to be too high. So B equals 4 has to work. All right, take us up to a smart score of 19. Just making it really nice. All right. Let's jump on this one. We got 5Q equals 5. So we got 5 times Q. So remember, a constant. The constant is any number that doesn't change, so 5 is not going to change. And a variable, the variable is a Q, which is the number we're plugging in for, equals 5. So that's multiply equals 5. All right, let's try Q equals 0 first. And I think I know what's going to happen here because, look, anything times 0, I think it's going to give us 0, and it's probably not going to work. So it's good to see kind of patterns coming up ahead and see if it just makes sense. So we got 5 times Q is 0, supposedly equals 5. Supposedly. But 5 times 0 is 0, and the problem is 0 does not equal 5. So that one does not work. We put a line through the equal sign saying it is not equal. So we're going to go ahead and not pick that one. All right, I was about ready to pick it, but I don't want to do that. Okay, let's try the other one. The other one has to work. Use the equation again. So we got 5Q equals 5. And we have 5 times 1. Why is it 1? Because Q is now 1, because that's what we're plugging in there. Equals 5. Okay, so 5 times 1 is 5. Equals 5. But bam. Q equal 1 is the correct answer. So again, go with the one where left and right are both equal. So we're going to go ahead and submit that. All right, next one, what do we got? We got U minus 7 equals 4. So now this one is just a subtraction problem. Subtraction is pretty good. We can handle subtraction. All right, let's try it. We're going to copy down the equation. We got U minus, I put equals. Yeah, we don't want to do that. So let's try that again. So U minus 7 equals 4. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the U equals 10 and see if that works. So we got 10 for U minus 7 equals 4. Now I got to remember 10 minus 4 or 10 minus 7. 10 minus 7, 9, 8, 7. I counted 3. So I got 3 on the left side equals 4. Remember, that was a question mark. And 3, let me check, doesn't equal 4 last time I checked. So 3 does not equal 4. Therefore, 10 is not the correct answer on that one. Well, if I add one more to the left side, I think 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 equals 4. It should work. So let's see if that does work indeed. So we're going to use U minus 7 equals 4. And U minus 7 is going to be, well, I don't know because I haven't plugged it in yet. So let's try plugging in 11 for U. So we got 11 minus 7 equals 4. And 11 minus 7 is 4. Here it is. 4 equals 4. And we'll put a little check mark there because that works. So we're going to go ahead and choose U equals 11 and turn that in. All right, we're doing a great job so far. Okay, now we got a fraction. Ooh. But you know what? It's still the same thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite it to make this a little bit easier because fractions tend to confuse people. So we're going to do this. Let's call it T divide 5. So one more time, we're going to do T divide 5 plus 1 equals 2. And that's going to make it so much easier. So here we go. We got T divide 5 plus 1 equals 2. So I took the fraction bar, and the fraction bar means divide. So just call that divide. So now what happens if we take T equals 5 and plug it in and see if that works? So T is now 5 because it says T equals 5. carry everything else down, leave it the same. So divide comes down, 5 comes down, plus 1 equals 2, supposedly, question mark. All right, first part, we got 5 divide 5. 5 divide 5 is 1. All right, bring down the positives. So 5 divide 5, so I'm going to put these little marks because that turns into a 1, those two. All right, 5 divide 5 is a 1 plus 1 supposedly equals 2. And this problem's so nice because 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Therefore, 2 equals 2. Check. So this fraction one that seems so difficult was one extra step, but we just changed fraction and division. Look how nice it came out. Got it done just like that. So t equals 5 is the correct solution. All right, let's get into our next one. Let's see. We have what value of c is a solution to this equation? So remember we talked about the fraction. Don't let the fraction bother you. So we got negative, we're going to copy it down, negative c divide 3, negative c divide 3, subtract 18 equals negative 19. See how nice that came out? See, now all of a sudden it's not so bad. Yeah, we got two negatives in there. We got a negative c and a negative 18 and a division. But when you do it one step at a time, it's really not that bad. All right, first step is what I want to do is I want to take c equals 3 and plug it in to see if both sides are equal to each other. So now negative comes down, 3 goes in for c, divide 3 minus 18 equals negative 19. And let's see how well this works. So what I want to do is I want to do 3 divide 3 first. Okay, so 3 divide 3 is 1. But if we have a negative out front, that negative just comes down with the 3. So one more time, 3. I'll even put parentheses around so you know what I'm talking about. See, right here. 3 divide 3 is 1. But then the negative that I forgot, I'm just going to keep it on there and call it negative 1. That's how we're going to address that. So negative 1 minus 18 supposedly equals negative 19. And again, these are question marks because I don't know if it's true until the very end. Now, this is where it can get kind of confusing. We got negative 1 minus 18. First of all, a negative and a minus are the same thing. It just means number below 0. So you could say negative 1, negative 18. You could say minus 1, minus 18. Minus negative, it's just all negative. It's just below 0. So the way this is read is, let's say you go to Walmart and you spend $1 and you go to Target and spend $18. When you put them two together, spending $1 plus spending more money of $18, altogether you spent $19. So in this particular situation, negative 19 equals negative 19 does work. So careful on that. So you spend $1, you spend $18, spending twice gives you a lot of spending of negative 19. And therefore that's the one we want. So we're going to go with c equals 3 because negative 19 does equal negative 19. Came out nice. All right, let's turn that in. Where am I at on my smart score? I feel like I'm working so hard. Here we go. We're at 49. We're doing good. We're doing real good. All right, looks like they give us back some easier ones. So let's try with c equals 8. So first step is copying down the equation. I'm just going to copy it down exactly, except 10 and c. Remember what I told you, when they're next to each other with no sign, you're going to multiply. So again, together with no sign, they're multiplying. So it's 10 times c equals 90. And what I want to do is I want to take 8 and plug it in for c and see if it works. So I got 10 times 8 supposedly equals 90. Let me see, 10 times 8, last time I checked was 80, 80. And I believe we are 10 short. Because 80 does not equal 90, so 80 does not equal 90, that's got to go. So c cannot equal 8. We need something a little bit larger, like maybe like a 9 would be helpful. So let's copy down the equation one more time. We got 10c equals 90. And that is 10 times C equals 90. We're going to take that 90 or that 9 and plug it in for C. Now, notice I put the multiplication in step 2. You guys can put it in step 1 like I did over here. That's fine. But just know a constant, which is a 10, and a variable next to each other without a sign, that's multiplication. So the next step is we're going to change the C into a 9. So we got 10 times 9 equals 90. And 10 times 9 is 90 equals 90. That is absolutely beautiful, and that's what we're looking for. So both sides match. We're going to select C equals 9 because that's the one that actually works. And on some points. All right, so we're at a smart score of 55. Now it's getting a little bit harder. They put a negative on the sides and all that, but you know what? It's still the same thing. So first step, we're going to go ahead and just copy it down. We got negative 86 equals 10s plus 4. All right, so first step is we need to figure out, well, what do we do with S? It looks like 105, but that is 10s. But remember, when you have a constant and a variable next to each other, that is automatically means multiply. So my second step, what I want to do is just rewrite it so it's 10 multiply S. So I got negative 86 equals 10 multiply S plus 4. Now they're looking a little bit longer, but still the same thing. Now we're going to take that negative 9 and plug it in for S and see if both sides of the equation will be true. All right, so we got negative 86. Left side's been staying the same the whole time. Now the right side, we just step by step got to work it out. So we got 10 multiply the entire thing. Don't forget the negative 9. So negative 9 plus 4. Okay, now what we do is we just work out the right side and see if both sides are true. So once again, negative 86 equals 10 times negative 9. 10 times negative 9 is 90. So 10 times 9 is 90. But when you multiply a positive 10 times a negative 9, that's going to take us to negative 90. And add 4. This one's looking pretty good, actually. So let's say if I owe somebody $90 and I get just a little bit of help, so I get $4. Because the signs are opposite, that means we're only going to owe negative 86. Basically what I did is I did 9 subtract 4 to give us 86 because they're opposite signs. 90 and positive 4 are opposite, so you subtract in the case of opposite. So in this case, negative 86 does equal negative 86, so we know that negative 9 works beautifully. That's the one we're going to pick. So here we go. Negative 9 is going to be our solution there. All right, we got ourselves another fraction one, but you know what? They're all positive though, so I like this one. So here we go. We have our first equation. Let's try 8 equals, I'm just copying it down, 2 plus d divide 2. D divide 2. Remember, fractions are divided, so don't let the fractions bother you. All right, what do we got? We need d equals 8. We're going to try d equals 8 first. So we're going to change that d into an 8 and see if it works out. So I got 8 equals 2 plus 8 divide 12. Okay, now I got on the right side 2 plus 8, but wait a minute. We have an order of operation question here. We got add and division. According to order of operation, we should divide first before adding. So one more time, divide first before adding. So 8 divide 2 is 4. So again, order of operations, we should divide first before adding. Then we bring down 2 plus 4. And we're going to bring down 8 as well. All right, so we got 8 equals 2 plus 4. And 8 equals 2 plus 4 is 6. It didn't run too good because 8 is not equal to 6. So therefore, we cannot use that. 8 is out. So I'm going to think that D equals 12 is going to be a better solution. So let's try D equals 12. Let's go and copy down the equation. We got 8 equals 2 plus D divide 2. Next up, we got 8 equals, we're going to take that 12, plug it in for D, which means D is now going to be equal to 12, and make that D go away, call it 12. So 2 plus 12 divide 2. All right, we got 8 equals, divide first before adding, 12 divide 2 is 6, and 2 plus 6 comes down. And that actually works out really nice because 8 equals 2 plus 6 is 8. So check. D equals 12 worked really nice. I like that one. Okay, here we go. We got parentheses here. We're going to do something called the distributive property. All kinds of good stuff. All right. So we got, first equation, we got 6 equals negative 2 multiply 4 plus S. Close the parentheses. All right. Our S, we're going to change into a negative 7. So we're going to take that S, change it to a negative 7. So everything else stays the same. So 6 equals negative 2 parenthesis 4 plus negative 7. And now here's what you do with distributive property. There's 2 options. You can take the negative 2 and multiply in. So what I mean is you can multiply it like so. Or you can take what's on the inside of the parentheses and just work that out, then multiply by negative 2. So it's really up to you. Both will work. In this case, I'm going to just do the inside first and see how that comes out. So first of all, when we have a 4 plus negative 7, it's just subtract. So 4 and a negative, the negative takes over. So what happens is 4 minus 7 turns into negative 3. So again, positive 4, but you subtract 7, it's negative 3 because you're now subtracting more than you already had. So negative 2 comes down, and 6 equals comes down. So now you have this negative 2 parenthesis negative 3. It's kind of weird. Whenever you have parentheses, remember if there's 2 numbers or 2 variables next to each other, it's going to be multiply. So all this question here is asking for is, well, negative 2 times negative 3 is what? Well, let me start with this. 2 times 3 is 6. Negative multiplying negative is positive. So positive 6 will stay. And check this out on the left side. It was negative 6 or positive 6 the whole time as well. So this one actually worked out really nice. 6 equals 6. So we're going to choose negative 7, turn it in. And I'm at smart score of 68. All right, let's clear the board. We got 3Q plus 2 equals 23. We're going to try Q equals 7. So now we got 3 multiply, remember a number, which is called a constant. So a constant is like a fancy word for a number, times a variable of 7 plus 2 equals 23. 3 times 7 is 21 plus 2 equals 23. And 21 plus 2 is 23 equals 23. Beautiful. So 7's going to work on this one. All right, next up, we got ourselves another set of parentheses and negatives. These are always the fun ones because they make you think just a little bit more. And we are in the 70s, so it's going to make you work for it a little bit more. All right, let's see. What is the value of v in this or what value of v is a solution to this equation? All right, copy down the equation. We got -4 equals -4. On the inside, we got 2 plus v, close parenthesis. V is going to turn into a -1, so I'm going to try -1 first. So I got -4 equals -4, parenthesis, 2 plus -1. And the situation where you have a plus and a minus, so if you have $2 plus, you're going to spend $1 plus. Spending money means you just spend money. So it's going to be 2 subtract 1. So we'll change that into a big old minus sign. So 2 minus 1 is 1. And put that in the parentheses all by itself. Bring down -4. And same thing on the left side, bring down -4. So the right side, it looks like -41, but be careful when there's no sign, it's actually multiplication. So it's -4 times 1. Starting with the whole numbers first, I'm going to say positive numbers. Let's say 4 times 1 is 4. But when you have one negative and one positive, the negative is going to stay. So that negative, just you literally bring it down. So -4 on the right, but check this out. On the left, -4 came down the whole time. So therefore, -4 equals -4. So that works out nice. So we're going to go ahead and choose v equals 1. All right, where am I at? I got to be getting close. 75. So I think I got about 2 more or so. All right, so we got 48 equals -4p minus 4p. And notice that p is in there twice, but it's okay. It won't do anything. We'll just plug it in twice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that -6 and plug it in twice. So I'm going to plug it in there, and I'm going to plug it in there as well. So now I got 48 equals -4 multiply -6, because remember, a constant and a variable next to each other is multiply, and p is -6, so I'll take that -6 and plug it in, minus 4 multiply -6 again. There you go. It's just a long multiplication and division problem is what it is. All right. Next step, bring down the 48, leave it alone. We got 48 equals, let's put together the -4 times -6. Let's start with the 4 times 6. So the 4 times 6 is 24. And a negative multiplied negative is positive. So 24 stays. Nicely done. Now, here is a repeat of it. So we got -4 times -6. We just did that. We also know that's positive 24. Now the question is, we're left without a sign right here. But if I did a negative times a negative, I just said it's positive. Well, yeah, it's positive, so therefore adding. And once again, we picked the right one because 24 plus 24, hey, is 48. So we got 48 there. So therefore, 48 equals 48. And we're going to go ahead and choose p equals -6. All right, last problem. Get this one right. We are done to a smart score of 80. Now this one is going to be a little bit tricky because we got a long fraction in there. But you know what? We're going to break that fraction into division. We're going to take our time on it because I don't want to get this wrong and have to redo it. All right. So I got 1 equals -u subtract 1 And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in parentheses because that represented the top of the fraction divided by 5. Now, something I don't like here is notice that negative represents the entire fraction. And I put it just with the u only, and I don't think I like that. And that's going to cause problems because, again, everything should be negative. See how the negative's in front? So actually here, if I were to put parentheses around this whole thing right here, notice it's negative u minus 1 over 5. So that negative needs to represent everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch that negative and put it in front of the parentheses. So that way it takes makes the whole thing negative. So I am going to fix this part right here. I don't like it. Careful. I'm glad I brought that up because they have it. So negative first, then parentheses. There we go. Now we should be good. Okay. So next step, what we're going to do is we're going to take -4 first and see if it works. The first one's been giving us the right answer, so it should be giving us off to a good start. All right. Bring down the 1 equals. Plug in -4 for u, so we got negative, open parenthesis, -4, subtract 1, close the parenthesis, divide 5. I did not do anything to the equation except for taking u and literally plugged in that -4. So inside the parenthesis, if I lost $4 and I lost another $1, losing and losing, you lost altogether $5. I can bring down that negative right there. Divide 5. And the 1, bring it down as well. Okay, so now I got this weird thing of a negative in front of a parenthesis. That negative actually means -1 multiply. So I'm going to show that in my next step. So 1 equals -1 multiply -5 divide 5. How unique, huh? So negative, again, means -1 multiply, because that parenthesis means you're multiplying that negative in, as in the distributive property. So going from left to right, we can multiply before dividing. It's fine. Go left to right. We got 1 times 5 is 5, but a negative multiplied negative is a positive, so the positive 5 is going to stay. And I'm going to bring down divide 5. So again, -1, -1, that -5 turns into 5. Divide comes down, 5 comes down, and our 1 on the left side comes down. And if you look at that, look at how nice it is, because 1 equals 5 divided into 5 is so nice because it goes 1 time, and therefore both sides are equal. And once again, we have chosen the correct answer. Once again, I'm picking the first one. Pretty sweet. And I want to turn this in because I want full credit. I got a smart score of 81 with 2 ribbons. Thank you. And this concludes the lovely tutorial for IXL Y.1, which X satisfies the equation. Have a great day.